I do use the Happy Nuts powder, though. I switched to that from the monkey butt.
Well, there you go.
Andy, what do you use?
Prentice and I both want to know.
Yeah. Inquiring minds want to know. Happy
when
Nuts?
when I'm feeling really chapped, maybe some Vagisil or something. But
I haven't tried that.
Well, there's a new product on the market called Clam Freshener you ought to try. It'll keep you from being moister than an oyster. Presented by Memphis Shades, the clear choice for custom windshields and fairings for your motorcycle. And Wild Ass Seats, stay in the saddle longer and in total comfort no matter your butt or budget.
There's lots of lip noises going on, like kicking and smacking and.
Welcome to the Five Dirty Bikers ASMR session.
yeah.
Wait, was it? Bentley.
yes.
Yeah, there it is.
I was recording something for Prentice yesterday, and I had a cough drop in my mouth one of the times that I recorded it, and I went back to listen to it, and you heard this against my teeth every now and again. And I was like, that's not going to sound okay.
Nice. Were you leaned up good and close to the mic?
Well, I was doing it on my phone, so I was like right here.
And why did you do the cough drop? Like you're supposed to record it without the cough drop. I smoke, 4 packs a day.
Oh, I did. That's the one you actually got. That says it's funny you asked me to record something as though I smoke 4 packs a day when I've literally never smoked a cigarette in my life.
All right, I'm going to give you, just say whatever you want now. Pretend you smoke 4 packs a day, you have a martini in your hand, and there's a little dog sitting in your lap. Ready? Go.
That's my best impression of 4 packs of cigarette a day.
It's not what I had in mind, Andy. Not at all.
Hey, baby. No, see, I can't do it.
Oh, no.
What happened? Did you spill your drink?
Me?
What? Did somebody
What?
drop something?
No.
Oh.
What did you see?
I thought Dustin dropped something in his lap.
No, Dustin had his pinky out. I saw that though.
Oh, I see what happened there.
I dropped
He's got
ass.
something else.
He dropped
He's got
ass.
something else.
Lord. So, how's everybody feeling?
Great. If that were any better, there'd be 2 of me.
Then that would be worse for all of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
it would.
We're like
It is.
2 weeks into November. Is anybody still doing bike shit?
I was riding today.
Yeah, I think Prentice just hit riding season a week ago. So
Yes,
True.
I did. Actually, you know what? I say that shit. Just hit riding season, and I'm so excited. We had like 5 days of our riding season, which is the dry season, right? It's nice. It's high 80, low of like 65, beautiful days out. And then more fucking hurricanes come through. It didn't hit me, but we had one way out in the Gulf. So we've had the residual outer band rain from that for the past 4 or 5 days. And then I just opened Facebook 10 minutes ago, and there's another fucking hurricane coming this way. And the spaghetti models have it all over the place, so you never really know. But just the fact that, like, this should be our dry season right now. We should
Isn't
be
it?
able to do whatever we want.
aren't hurricanes in November pretty rare too?
Very rare. We had one the year that we had Ian. We had Nicole, I think it was, and that was about what would have been like last week. But yeah, that's the last one that I remember being in November. And now we have one, and then we have another one on the way. So who knows when I'm going to start riding? Maybe tax season.
I was actually just for whatever reason scrolling through my phone the other day and through my photographs, and I saw that 2 years ago on this date I had posted a video, something for FDB, and I was standing on my deck outside, and you could see my backyard fucking fully covered in snow. And I was
Wow.
like, yeah, oh, for sure. So I'm like, it's for us, it's any day now. Like right now, it's 43 right now. It's going to be, probably 20 in the overnight. I mean, we're fully in the cold part of the season. It's going to start getting cold any second now.
Well, that's like 300 days a year for you, though, right?
No. I mean, for sure,
275.
for sure, we have like usually 4.5 to 5 full months of winter. So,
But at what point do you act? Because people move here from like Maine and
Yeah.
Vermont, and it'll be when we do actually have winter, which it's like 45, 50. They're
Yeah.
out here in like short sleeves and shorts mowing the yard. Like, so at what point do you actually stop riding? Like, to me, I feel like you could ride in 40 if you wanted to, right?
oh yeah, like a lot of my friends and myself included, we have like heated gear and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we'll ride until it snows. Now I haven't done that this year for whatever reason. I just I hung it up a few weeks ago just because I have been very busy with so many other things, and honestly at the end of my days I'm exhausted, and so I haven't spent any. And the weekends I've got shit I got to do, and we have a new puppy at home, and so I haven't had a lot of time, to be honest. And so I kind of just decided, I have a bunch of shit I want to do to my bike. I'm going to be tearing it down, and so I hung it up a little bit early. But I've ridden in every month now, except January and February are the only 2 months I've never ridden in North Dakota. And it would, to be honest with you, it would be very tough to ride in those 2 months, just because the other thing is they spray all this shit on the roads and it gets up in the undercarriage of your bike and it'll
Eat away at it.
everything apart. Yeah. So
that shit sucks.
it's just as bad as the ocean sea salt that you guys deal with on your end. I mean, it'll rust out the bottom of your bike.
Well, anytime you get shit sprayed up on your undercarriage, you got to get it off, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
that's what I've
I
heard.
use Happy Nuts.
Monkey butt. No, yeah, it's a real
I've
thing
never
for
used
sure.
that. Does it work? Do those work?
Monkey Butt works. I mean, from a powder, Happy Nuts is like a man soap product.
Oh,
body
yeah.
wash.
I actually still use the Manscaped stuff that that we got a while back. I use that soap, so I buy it every once in a while, and I love that shit. Works good.
I do use the Happy Nuts powder though. I switched to that from the Monkey Butt.
Well, there you go.
Andy, what do you use?
Prentice and I both want to know.
Yeah. Inquiring minds want to know. Happy
when I'm
Nuts?
feeling really chapped, maybe some Vagisil or something. But
I haven't tried that.
Well, there's a new product on the market called Clam Freshener you ought to try. It'll keep you from being moister than an oyster.
So, can you,
Clam
this is an
paste.
honest, this is a real question. Could you
Okay.
hypothetically use Vagisil for when you were talking about your headphones getting moist all in there? Could you hypothetically just pop that up
Does
in the
it
mirror
come in
canals?
spray form?
Yeah. Or can you just
I don't know. I mean, I have like I do like kind of adjust them every now and again, because I feel like what's happened is my ears are the perfect size. There's like a true suction cup that's happening
Yeah.
around my ears, and it gets so hot in there. Like, it is intense.
Well, that's what I mean.
So-
right?
Prentice, you do know it's Vagisil, not Vagisil. Right? There's a
I don't
difference
know.
between
Yeah.
As
the
long
two.
as you get the veg right. Who cares about it?
Right. There's a margin of error that I think we can appreciate in this.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, I would just like to find something for prevention. I'm all about prevention. I don't want to
Yeah.
deal with the aftermath. So it's like, I don't want swussy or swash or any of that. So therefore I don't want smear or whatever.
You need to explain these terms and what they refer to.
Oh.
I don't
Okay.
think she does.
So,
that was
first of all-
self-explanatory.
My favorite one is,
It's like
and I
charades.
don't
Two words.
use this. I don't use this one with everybody because they're sensitive people. But are we far enough in the recording that I can't get us fined
Oh, yeah.
or anything?
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So
We're
my
clear.
favorite is
Yeah.
skunt.
Oh,
Cunt.
Yeah. Nobody wants a skunt. You know, some people use swussy for the,
Maybe
you
if
know,
you're
for
from
the,
England.
yeah. And
Swissy has
Especially if
more
you- especially if
for
you're
you
close.
guys,
yeah.
for you guys, it's swabbles. We don't want swabbles.
Wait, hold on.
I don't even know what a swabble
What's
is.
what
Sweaty balls.
Is that what you women call sweaty balls? Swabbles?
swabble?
No, that's what Greg and I call them.
Yeah. Wow, wow.
We're going to start calling him Swabble. Hey, Swabble, how's it hanging today?
Isn't that a WWF wrestler? Wasn't there a Hornswoggle or something like that? No, Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle is his name, not Hornswabble. Never mind.
So I just want to prevent the swear. I don't know. I don't have a better one for the sweaty
Why
ear,
does everything start with SW?
Because it's sweaty, and then
Swear.
whatever part of your body.
Vagiswear. It doesn't work, does
Lord. No,
it? Okay.
not at all. Not at all.
So anyway,
Shoot.
speaking of what makes a wonderful writer,
Not having swabbles
Or swass.
or swass or
or
swoobs. Oh,
or
don't forget about the swoobs. That sucks.
Wow.
Or the swunt, or whatever you call it.
It's skunt. You have
Oh.
to get the C in there. The skunt.
well, so yeah, why is that different? Why is there no W? Swa. Why does that have to be ska?
Well, that's a tongue twister.
Am I going to get in trouble Googling this stuff?
Swat.
Yes, I would not. I would
Do
not
it.
Google it.
Google it now.
Yeah. It's Urban Dictionary, it even better.
No,
Oh yeah.
gosh.
Oh, Reddit. What is skunt?
What does Reddit say?
It says,
Can you use it in a
I
sentence,
think
please?
D. Attenborough has to read that.
well, I can't do D. Attenborough, but it's on Reddit. It says, so a skunt is a less than kind way of referring to a scout. Huh?
A scout.
A scout?
Yeah. This must be,
For all the
Like a
listeners out there,
Boy Scout?
I am not degrading the Boy Scouts. I'm talking about a sweaty pussy. That's what I'm talking about. I don't want anybody to think that I'm talking smack about Boy Scouts, okay? That's not what I'm doing here.
Or about little boys at all.
Yeah, or about little boys at all. I mean, Reddit has it all wrong.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I better contribute to that thread.
What happened? What happened? I blacked out.
He heard the puh and went,
I know what page that's on Pornhub.
Page 2 of your history.
No.
Oh,
Page 2, you're
so-
still into the gross stuff. All the incest stuff. You gotta get into page 3. Page 2 still all that weird like stepmom stuff.
all right. Well, I hate to tell you, Andy, but apparently a video game has taken over the definition of skunt.
Oh.
So,
Mario
Yes,
Brothers?
Princess Peach had a skunt.
It's Froggy. It's Frogger.
Oh, Lord. So, yeah, about that writing business.
What are we talking
about
about
that?
today?
We're
Well,
talking about what makes a good writer, right, Andy?
Yeah.
Where did this come from? This topic was given to us by one of our patrons and
wasn't it Jay?
a longtime listener, Jay Sherman.
Yeah.
The one, the only.
He
The
posed-
Sperminator.
The Sperminator. The man who will forever be left behind.
Jay is just full of all kind of scunny stuff. He's got great ideas.
Used in a sentence. Well done.
Oh, Lord.
And a sentence
So
would
here's
read.
the question is, how would you define a good writer? Can you be a good writer if you only ride on pavement? Can you be a good writer if you only ride in the dirt? Do you have to ride both to be a good writer?
Interesting.
This is a open-ended hot topic.
Oh, for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Dustin, why don't you start?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Take a
It's
drink and then
li-
start.
A little too hot for me.
Open that can of worms.
I'm about to open that bottle of whiskey more.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who has the most writing experience here? Like, who's
Not
been
me.
writing the longest, the most miles?
What are we talking about?
Jesus.
Oh God, Andy,
Probably right.
keep it in your pants.
You mean Tim?
Well, Ryan's not wearing any, so I mean,
Clearly defined. I am not wearing any pants. Yes.
Says so on his little thingamajigger.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I mean,
maybe we should start with what a good writer is not.
there you go.
That
That
you know
might
what?
even be more difficult.
I was going to say, I think that might be harder to So my definition, where we all have heard the story, there are two types of writers, right? The one that has gone down and the one that will go down.
Andy, which one are you?
Whoa!
She's number 2. She's number 2.
I wasn't listening, but I
Was the swass blocking
eyes-
your
She
hearing
was wiping
passages?
stuff from her eye. What's
She was
in your
dabbing
eye?
her eyes so she couldn't hear. I'll tell you what's in her eye.
I'm thinking of a number, 1 or 2.
Okay, so what was it? The one who hasn't gone down or the one who has?
Yeah.
Oh,
What
wow.
makes a good writer? We were like, the one who
Yeah.
hasn't gone down or the one who has? And we were
Yeah,
like,
the
well,
one
you
that-
definitely
the
have
one
gone
that
down.
will.
Well, there's
Yeah.
lessons to be learned on going down. So, I mean, I guess it just depends
Swabbles.
on how. Yeah.
Well, I don't think. I would say this, Prentice. I don't think that getting into an accident or going down in your motorcycle is a measure of whether or not you're a good rider.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
And I think that we've all experienced the put your foot down and it slips on kitty litter in a gas station and you tip your bike over. We've all experienced this happened to me actually this summer. I was riding with Bob and his wife, and my wife and I were riding, and I told my wife to get on, and I was on a slope, so it was sloped down further on one side than the other, and this car pulled up right up in front of us and turned, and I was looking at the car, but had already told Tiffany to get on, and I had not stabilized myself, and she grabbed my shoulder to swing her leg up, and she pulled us right over. And it was completely my fault because I wasn't stabilizing, and I told her to get on the bike. But because this car pulled up and right up pretty much 6 inches from my front tire, I was distracted, and I wasn't stabilized for the incline that we were on, and we tipped the bike over. I mean, that kind of shit can happen to you, and it doesn't matter how good of a rider you are, right? And those stunt riders, those motherfuckers are great riders, and they drop their bikes all the time.
Yeah, dude from East Coastin just went down. In an Instagram video, it's big, and he was just doing
I bet
what
it
he
is.
does every day.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I just saw a gal on Instagram who totaled 2 bikes this season, walked away from 2 totaled bikes this season. And the second one was a deer. I mean, I don't think that that's a measure of it, but if you're counting that, I've tipped over my bike probably 1 time a season. I have actually been in a legit accident in the 80s. I haven't been since I've been riding as the driver, or whatever you want to say. As a passenger, I was in an accident. But, I mean, I would say, to me, a good rider is somebody that spends time not only putting miles on their bike, but is intentional about practicing things that they know they're not good at.
Yeah. I think of 2 riders, in general, 2 riders that come to mind. One of them, well, really, it's a group of people, like the police bike riders. Would you watch those guys on
They're
the
great.
baggers? It's incredible the things that they can do with the
They're
900-pound
amazing.
motorcycle.
Yep,
I
they're
feel like
amazing.
that's a good rider. And then number 2, when I lived in Los Angeles on Mulholland, there was this guy. I think there's probably YouTube video of him. They called him Darko, and he rode an R1 on Mulholland. And this dude could drop elbows around the snake in Mulholland, and that dude was incredible. I've never seen anyone defy physics on a motorcycle, and this guy could do it. So those are 2 different extremes, but both of them, in my mind, when I think of what's a good rider, instantly those 2 come to mind. Whether
Right.
they
Yeah,
wrecked
but,
or
I
not
mean-
is regardless, but just the ability to ride that in that way.
I guess the context is really important here, right? Because you're
True.
talking about skills, and Ryan's talking about minor accidents and stuff that happen. But those are really kind of downstream. I mean, to me, a good rider for me is someone that rides within their level of competency, especially on public roads,
Sure.
right? Which is being responsible.
Yeah.
So if
And
you
that
have
makes
a
sense.
good rider, and then of course, you can not have great skills, none of us had great skills when we started, but hopefully we had
Right.
the proper habits, right? Defensive riding, safety, not riding beyond our skill set, particularly when we're out in public, and put others in danger when we do that. I mean, to me, those are all like traits of a good.
I don't
Well,
have any of those. None
And
of
there,
those.
I know
and
you
there are
don't.
some things like that too, Dave. Like under the safety that are, I don't think that whether or not you're an all the gear all the time kind of person should makes a determination of whether or not you're a good rider. There are people that don't wear helmets. There are people that do and don't wear gloves. There are people that do and don't wear boots, or apprentice who doesn't wear pants.
Or
I mean, shirts, right? So. I think that my nipples are way too sensitive to not wear a shirt.
Chapstick, bro.
I couldn't do that.
I have a feeling that you have like big old orangutan nipples that just stick out about 3 inches.
I really don't actually. It's funny. It's funny that would be your impression of my nipples.
He has micro nipples,
You're welcome, Andy.
so it's a
Don't throw
magic
up.
set.
I'm never going to be able to unsee that.
Yeah.
White
I have
legs,
no nipples.
long nipples.
I'm gonna.
As though he's been nursing, just got done nursing. I mean, you guys
Yeah.
are all,
There's
I'm
a
gonna-
giraffe.
those suckers are
I'm gonna buy overalls like Prentice, and I'm gonna just wear the overalls with no shirt at the next
Yeah.
FDBM.
And
I-
your
that's
nipples are
literally-
so
I do
big,
it.
like the little things you can
They'll just hook right on there,
Hook right
yeah.
on there. Love
Yeah.
that. That'll be a great look.
Yeah, just
You know-
holding them up.
Gosh, gosh, oh my gosh.
Yes. I'll give you the caveat that your nipples will get raw if you ride without a shirt and overalls. I do it all the time, and it does not. Yeah, it never works in my
Can't
favor.
run a marathon without putting some Band-Aids on your nipples.
That's right.
That's right.
So I'll even go a step bit further back than Dave and say that I think that it all starts with the mentality before you get on the bike.
Yeah.
I've been on the podcast multiple times prior to being an official member, but I think we
Really?
were having. I know,
Humble brag.
weird, huh?
Yeah.
Humble
wow.
brag is right. Let me just put myself right there. Or right there.
Wow.
That's my attaboy. Attaboy. But I remember when we were kind of talking about group riding and everything coming out to FDBM and the types of rides that we were going to be doing here in the hills, and I think it was Tony at the time who had made the comment, and he's like, I don't want to misspeak, so I'm not going to say this is exactly what he was saying, but it was something along the lines of, you should always understand that when you get on a motorcycle, there's a level of danger, and there's a lot of room for error. And if you ever get to the point where you get on and you're just like, I've got this, and you're not thinking about all the things that could possibly go wrong, you are instantly a dangerous rider. Does that make sense? You
Yeah, I
shouldn't be
agree.
riding at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's always kind of stuck with me. I thought that was a really good way of putting it, because we see out here, I mean, especially at the motel, we hear of, people coming over there, they'll check into the motel, they'll come over to the bar, they'll, belly up, and they're like, I bought this bike last week, and I rode the hills. I can't wait to do Nemo and Iron Mountain and all those things. And
Jesus Christ.
You ask them, okay, so you bought the bike, but how long have you been riding? Oh, literally just a week. I went and got my license, and
Hell
I'm like,
yeah.
okay, so tell me where you're going, and then we will all go the opposite direction. If you're
4
going to
beers
Nemo,
and let's go.
Right.
Jesus, it's just kind of like that's overconfident, and you don't
If you
want
make it
those-
home, you're a good rider, though, Andy.
I guess, yeah.
It's really
Holy
it's
buckets.
funny you mentioned that, because when I was at I just finished riding Beartooth Pass, and I was at a coffee shop on the other side, and having a coffee and a sandwich, and this young lady came up and started asking me all kinds. She was local, asked me all kinds of questions about the bike and how she's wanted to ride for a long time, and she was considering taking a class, getting a bike, and then going to ride Beartooth. And I'm like, no.
Godspeed.
That is not something that you do. You don't get to come out of the MSF course on a new bike. I said it would probably take you a couple of years, at least to build up the skill set to ride something like that. And I think there's a lot of people that like you said, that tend to do that. They get excited. Oh, I want to go I want to ride a motorcycle because I see all these people doing this cool stuff. I'm going to buy a motorcycle. I got the bike. Now I'm going to go do Skyline Drive. You know, I mean, I've ridden with guys for a few years that I wouldn't take on Skyline Drive.
Right.
You know?
Well, I see and I'm sure that, well, Andy probably would not see that where she's at, but here there's lots of people that I see riding around here that I could tell you I would not consider them to be good riders because all they ever ride is long straight roads. Right. And because, but that's all we have here. So for me, I think that you have to be intentional about the kind of riding that you're doing, kind of like what Dave said, and riding within the skill set of that. I know we've talked about it with my group of riders all the time that when we go someplace new, it usually takes us a minute, you know, before we are comfortable with where we're riding. I mean, I guess if you took me down to Florida where all the roads are just straight and, you know, 90-degree turns like they are here, it'd be fine. But when we go out to South Dakota or we went out to Colorado, you know, it takes a minute to get your curvy feet underneath you. If you're not used to riding like that and riding those kind of roads, you might find yourself in a situation that you're not comfortable with.
Well,
and
that's a sign of a good rider, right? That gets themselves into a situation they're not comfortable with and says, I need to stop.
Or practice.
You know,
I need to practice.
Well, I mean, if you're in a situation, you're in it, right? But understanding that you're beyond your skill set.
Right.
But, you know, kind of playing what you were saying, I'm going to throw my kid under the bus, you know, because PJ, as I've talked about before on the podcast when we did the South Dakota trip, he's been riding since 2002, right? Put him on a straight road, fine. Texas, other than the Twisted Sisters, fine. Up and down 95, fine. But the minute we got into Pennsylvania is when his world turned upside down. Right now, he didn't suddenly become a bad rider, but he was in an environment that his skill sets didn't meet up to.
Right.
You know, and although I give him shit still to this day about it, you know, he spoke up and said, I can't do this. I'm not comfortable with this. And being the great father I am, I said, okay, I'll see you. You know, I'm going to stop at this exit down the road. Bye. But I think that's, you know, that's all kind of, it's situational, right? I think it can be situational for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's the thing, right? Like, how do you, on one hand, yes, on the other hand, how do you get better if you don't push yourself just a little bit enough? Right. A little bit more past your, not, I wouldn't say like past your comfort. Well, yeah, no, I'll say past your comfort level, but maybe not out of your like, you're not going to come into an off ramp doing 100 miles an hour. It's just ridiculous. You know, physics won't allow that to happen on a Harley, right?
Yes,
it just
it
doesn't
will.
work. It could.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, right.
We've seen it happen.
Could. Yeah, but like, you know what I mean? Like to press yourself. Like we're doing the Tail of the Dragon, right? As long as you maintain a relatively safe speed and you know how to handle yourself and like not cross over every double yellow that you see, like you might be okay, right? Like push yourself a little bit. Don't go so fast that you're going to fall off the edge like most people end up doing. It's back to what Andy said. I think a lot of it has to do with even my 8-year-old gets out and rides this electric scooter that I swear does mock Jesus. Mm-hmm. I don't know what size battery it has in it, but it just goes. I bought her a full face helmet for it, but she will go down the road without even so much as planting her foot and just do a full U-turn in the road. And it scares the shit out of me. And I tell her all the time, like, don't get too comfortable. Not just in this, in anything in life. Don't get too comfortable because that's when you're going to mess up and make mistakes, you know? And it's just like, I think that, like, maybe pressing yourself past your comfort zone, but not getting too comfortable, right? Like, yeah, I got this fucked up.
Well, and don't push yourself during Sturgis by jumping on needles when you can't do turns.
Right.
Curves. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's the context and it's situational. Don't be an asshole. That's an asshole that does that. That puts others in danger.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah,
I want to take it a step back further than where Andy started with it, with just the mentality before you get on the bike. I would say somebody who takes care of their motorcycle.
Yeah, true.
Because if you don't, that's going to put you in a situation where you could get fucked up.
There's
Right.
a lot of crying back tires right now, Dustin,
I
out
know.
there with belts showing and shit.
The smallest violins playing in somebody's garage.
Right.
Dude, it's crazy. Like and you're right. It is absolutely crazy what people try to get away with when you only have 2 tires to begin with. You look at a rear tire and like, how in the fuck did you even make it here?
Yeah.
Like that's just dangerous. And that I think you're right. I think that I think it doesn't make you a good rider. Like maybe you do great on it somehow and you miraculously make it, but like come on, dude. Like you're just one hydroplane away from
You're one
Damn,
easy
like,
You're
ball
going a
from
little too far on
disaster.
that because that's kind of what the service tech told me or asked me when he saw my bike when I had that last blowout. So
Oh, are you feeling attacked right now?
you just
Yeah.
Ooh, well, life's a bitch still,
You know,
Dave.
it's, when you're on a bagger, it's kind of hard to see that rear tire sometimes.
got to get down on them hands and knees.
Dave hasn't been on his knees in a long time.
Yeah, I'm not good at that.
You hung up his gag ball long ago.
Oh,
I'll get you some knee pads.
you don't know what it is to
Got
live.
extras.
Yeah.
I
You
think-
haven't lived.
They're even
and I
they're
think
even
that,
nude.
Oh boy.
I
don't-
think that the idea of riding on the street or riding in the dirt, I don't know that even matters at all, right? Because I would say, like for myself, I've never ridden a dirt bike to speak of, a four-wheeler and that kind of stuff, but not a dirt bike to speak of. I don't have one. I don't have any plans in the near future to buy one. And so I don't know that has any bearing on whether or not I'm a good rider because I can or can't ride in the dirt. Have I ridden on gravel roads? Well, if you go motorcycle camping, the answer to that is yes,
Yeah.
right? Because there's always gravel roads there. Have I ridden on, 13 miles of gravel road coming out to, South Dakota one time and my GPS just led me that direction? Yes. I mean, these things happen when you're traveling that you might end up in that situation and you have to know how to handle it. Or have I watched somebody like Dave ride on a gravel road with both of his feet hanging on the ground because he thought he was going to dump his bike? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Because that's what the situation called for.
right. So I
Right,
mean,
yeah.
I think that those are all things that are situational, and what somebody might deem as a good rider, somebody who's ask one of the guys that does the Bagger Racing League if any of us are good riders, and he'd say no, we're all a bunch of amateurs and we all suck, right?
Yeah.
But that's somebody who can throw around a 900-pound motorcycle and drag their knees and do a 12 o'clock wheelie on a full bagger.
Yeah,
right?
that's a good stunt rider.
Well, and I
Right.
think I think the idea of all of that is just subjective to riding within. How are you going to ride? Are you a dirt bike rider? Well, then are you good riding on the dirt, right? I mean, I think it's subjective to where you're riding and doing those things.
And I
Is
would
it-
say I had a Sportster. I had a Roadster 1200 that I put Shinko 705s on, and it's it's still a 600-pound bike, and I've been known to take it down an empty horse trail or two, like to have fun on it. I don't know that it made me a great rider. Did it make me a little stupid? Probably, but I made it. I didn't go down, and I still, even though I did that, I didn't push myself past this comfort level of just yeeting a cruiser bike onto a trail. But I had a lot of fun with it,
Well, and I think so there's some rules in riding a dirt bike that don't exist the same way in riding a cruiser
yeah.
or a bagger,
Absolutely.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
you don't put your foot down and turn a corner on a bagger, right? You'll tear your fucking leg off. And you do that on a dirt bike. You know what I mean? And so I think that there are skills that translate from riding dirt to riding street and riding street to riding dirt, but they're really not the same. I mean, the bikes aren't even set up the same. What's a travel on a dirt bike? The suspension travel on a dirt bike is 9.5 inches or something ridiculous. It's
Yeah.
crazy, right? So Brett is 9.5 inches. It's that far.
Yeah, we know that by now. Yep.
So I think that's that's relative, but it does. I still think it's worth discussing because it's an interesting idea of what a good rider is or isn't and what that looks like to somebody else. I mean, I know we've ridden with people who one of our patrons and one of the people who's been to a bunch of meetups, John Doe, he's got like, I don't know, 14 different motorcycles of every variety. And he rides 2-up, and he rides single, and he all kinds of things. He's a very good rider. He has control of many different motorcycles when he rides them. And I've ridden with him, going slow, and I've ridden with him going really fucking fast through downtown St. Louis. And he's a good rider. So, Phil, another guy that I've ridden with kind of in the same way, who has been at a couple FDBMs, who lives in Kentucky. He's a good rider.
Well, let me ask you guys this: have you ever been riding, like in maybe a small group of friends or people or whatever, and had to ask someone to leave because they weren't "quote unquote" a good rider?
We just kind of left them behind, like you said, like not in a mean way. Just like we knew their level, they knew our level. We knew that there would be a disconnect in terms of like the distance. We just make sure to have eyes on them, right, at some point, and make sure that they made it to where we're going. But we've never asked anyone to leave. It's just like, kind of file in where you get in, like you get in the back, and then, you'll catch up. No big deal.
No, there's
no
definitely been
pressure.
people. There's definitely been people, like I've gone to several charity rides where I didn't feel comfortable riding next to or in front of or behind. And I didn't want to ruin it because it's a charity event. It's for a good cause. But at the same time, one fuck up, you're taking an entire group of 70 bikes down.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been times where I kind of talked to like one of the MC members that said, hey, this guy I about rear-ended this guy because he's braking suddenly and he's riding wobbly, and I think he might have had a couple PBRs before he left the last stop. But it's something you definitely have to look out for, especially when it's people you don't know.
Well, and you can be a good individual rider, a good solo rider, and put a passenger on your bike, and now you're not anymore. Or put yourself in a group ride, and you're not a good rider anymore because you haven't ridden in those situations, and now your ability doesn't match the needed skill set for the situation that you're in.
Yeah,
right?
There's a lot of guys that end up like I think I want to ride with a club. Like, this sounds great. I can ride a bike. I can make it happen. But you're not ready to do peg to peg at 90 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Like that's a different. That's you can't make sudden movements in those scenarios. And you really got to be comfortable with a small space. And I think to Ryan's point, I think it's all subjective, right? What makes you a different rider or a good rider in different scenarios is just that.
Let's ask Andy a question because Andy, you're out in an area where I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to assume you guys out there get more than your fair share of bad or asshole riders, especially during certain parts of the times of the year. To you, what are those people like? What are the bad riders? When you see somebody, you go, that guy's not it. That guy's an asshole, or he can't ride. What do those people look like?
Me.
Yeah, I've got a picture of you on my dashboard. When I see that fucker, I'm just gonna.
Is he
tip
wearing
him
that nude
over.
suit in that picture?
I was gonna say, what you're gonna smile?
It's interesting because it took me a while to become accustomed to being in a car and determining if what the biker was doing was being an asshole or being a defensive good rider. And as someone who commutes back and forth, I have a 45-minute commute every day. And especially during the summer, there's tons of riders. I think that motorcyclists who are aware of the fact that they don't own the road makes a huge difference. It gets very frustrating when you're dealing with motorcyclists who they decide on a straightaway that they're going to pass 10 vehicles, and then then after that you get up on them and they're riding slow as fuck, and you have to go around them, and then pretty soon they decide that, oh, there's the next straightaway, and then they all cut you off because they're trying to stay together. I think from a being in a vehicle standpoint, we see tons of horrible riders around here that aren't from here, that don't understand that South Dakota is, yes, we're very rural, and it seems like we have open roads, but we still have people who are commuting. We still have people who need to get to X, Y, and Z, if that makes sense, because the traffic isn't as condensed, I guess, as it is in other places. As a rider, like when I'm on a motorcycle, I will say anytime I get into a group and you see that there becomes this distinct separation between parts of the group, you know that they're not riding cohesively, and I instantaneously find myself just removing myself from that group. I think I've shared this before. This was years ago. Greg and I were invited on a motorcycle ride through the hills, and we were on this back road by the 1880 train, and they were just being complete assholes, and we ended up getting stuck in the middle of this group, and so they were pushing us from behind, and to keep up with the riders in the front, and I'm not joking, this is not 9 inches, I'm not joking when I said there were probably 2.5 inches between our bike and a car's rearview mirror. And I got off that bike and I said to Greg, I will not ever ride with that group of people again. If their intention is to push people to the point where we're not just out having a good time. So I think that it's a little bit difficult for me because you can make an assumption that somebody's a really good rider because they do something really cool, and then you're like, the next curve, you're like, well, maybe that was a fluke that they did that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Damn, they took that curve really, really hot, and they came out of it like super smooth, and so then you keep going, and then the next curve, you're like, what the fuck? They're gonna fall. I don't know. I don't know if I answered your question. I was all over the place. But
what do we think about, so that being, because Andy makes a point, but to kind of like, is there anything that we think objectively makes a good or a bad rider? Like, I'll start by saying, objectively, if you've had a 6-pack and you ride, you're a fucking terrible rider. Right? Like, I've had many friends that have done it.
I would say you're more of a
many
terrible
friends that have
person.
died. Right. Yeah, but I mean, like, come on, dude. Like, drink that much, get on a bike, like, bad shit happens. We've seen it. We all know. I personally know quite a few people that's happened to, right? And, like, that's the thing. Like, what objectively would you say makes a bad or a good rider?
Well, I think I think you can boil it down. It may sound a little light, but to me, a good rider rides responsibly for himself and for others, right? Just because you're willing to take a risk, if you're in an environment with other people and you take that risk and put them at risk, good riders don't do that. Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think to Andy's point too, I think sometimes what happens is you have that pack mentality that happens, right? And so one person does it, and the next guy does it, and the next guy does it because they want to fit in. They're not trying to stand out or be viewed as being weak because I can't ride that fast or do that thing or take that corner like that, like she said. I would say that of all the other times I've been out to South Dakota, this entire time that I spent out at Sturgis, I felt like that there was very specific areas that I was riding, specifically this one interstate corridor where the riders were consistently inconsiderate on that stretch of road, and which was interesting because I found that the more technical the road was, the more considerate the riders were. Probably because it required a higher level of skill to be on that road, and so if I came up on somebody and they could tell that I was wanting to go faster than them, they would pull over and I would pass them, or I would do the same. and that would be on some of the more technical roads. But like on the long, straight, say, interstate roads, I mean, it was awful. The riders were so inconsiderate of other vehicles and of other motorcyclists. And it became a level of frustration of riding in that area, because that's not how I behave when I ride. And so when others are doing that, and that's not to say that I don't maybe want to ride faster sometimes or whatever the case may be, but I'm not putting that on the person who I'm trying to get around or go around or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make that rider feel uncomfortable. If I pull up on somebody and I want to pass them and they are not going to pull over, then I just back off, because they're not understanding that I want to go past them, and they're not waving me by, and so they're never going to. And so me tailgating them is not going to solve that problem. You know what I mean?
That's when I switch into being an asshole rider, because I have little tolerance for that. But if you want to see that type of behavior on steroids, go ride the Dragon any day of the month.
I read that,
Have you
actually.
ridden the Dragon before, Ryan?
I have not, no.
Yeah. And you have Prentice, right? I mean, you get out there and there are people blowing by you, going into the other lane,
In the other
in
lane.
a curve,
That's the big thing. Yeah.
in the blind, pushing you over. It's
And cars do the same shit up there.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like they cross over. That's what I was talking about earlier, like crossing the double yellow, like,
yeah.
and any mountain road, like they just, everyone thinks it's initial D and bike or
Yeah,
or
but it's
car,
on
and they just-
steroids in the Dragon, right? Because everybody, that's
Yeah.
a destination. Everybody gets there,
Right.
and they lose their shit. A lot
And
of
if-
people just lose their shit.
And I feel like if you cross a double yellow, you cause an accident, you're going to be that person that drives away from it too. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't stay if you blew by somebody and they had a panic moment and then went off the side of the road. You'd probably just keep going. You
Yeah.
know, like, and I don't know. I have little tolerance for that kind of behavior on a bike or in a car or whatever, but I also don't. I try not to behave in a reactionary way, because that's never going to go well either. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
there's no, and I had that moment when I was in South Dakota a few years ago where, somebody's dumb decision just about cost me my life. And I've been asked a million times, why didn't you stop and have a conversation with that guy? And I'm like, what was there to gain to embarrass a guy in front of his wife and kids? Because he made a decision that there was nothing to gain there. There was there was no lesson to be learned. There was no anything except for, making him feel small. And I just there's nothing for me to gain to make somebody else feel small. So, I
Well,
just
you're
I just rode
7
on.
foot tall. You make everybody feel
Yeah.
small.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but the little nipples kind of mitigate
Yeah,
that.
that
so-
balances
Yeah,
that
yeah,
out.
yeah.
The tiny,
Yeah.
tiny nipples. Yeah.
He was such a hard ass, and then he took his shirt off.
Yeah.
It just,
micro
the
nipples.
whole thing changed.
Yeah.
I'm with you,
Micro
though.
nipples.
Like,
I didn't want to ask him to take his pants off.
That's right. I'm with you. I think that, like, I don't spend any time. I don't try to, and I don't think that I have, off the top of my head, spent any time like trying to go after or like get revenge on anyone that might have cut me off or done something different on a bike. Because like I'm more focused on like, let me just do whatever evasive maneuvering I need and just get the hell out of there and be done with it. Like, what's the point, right?
I think that's going back to kind of that whole conversation about the vehicle and being aware of who else is on the road. I think a good motorcyclist shows respect to the vehicles and the fact that if there is an incident, we don't need to have the rage. We don't need to go the extra mile to prove a point that the car cut you off because they didn't see you or whatever. Let's just thank God that there wasn't a situation where anybody went down, because I think that was what the most asked question when Greg got in his motorcycle accident was, was he hit by somebody or did somebody hit him? And my reaction was, thank God, no, because A, it could have been so much worse. But 2, I would never want the other person who hit him or hurt him or anything like that to have to live with that on their conscience. And I think that, we as motorcyclists, can get out there and get defensive, as we should be. We should be riding defensively because we're obviously much smaller. We're not as visible. But I think we also have to understand we're very much the minority on the roads, and being aware that there is a level, I mean, especially, I would say in South Dakota, you're probably safer riding a motorcycle in South Dakota than you are probably anywhere else in the country, because we are, everybody here has a motorcycle. I think I just looked it up not very long ago, like a very large percentage of people here have a motorcycle. And so we're all aware of it. We're always looking for it, so on and so forth. But there is that level of, hey, there's got to be some grace that's given, because the number of motorcycles versus vehicles is very minimal.
You're not gonna.
And that's probably not what you want to hear on a motorcycle podcast, but the truth hurts, I guess.
Right. You're also not gonna. You're not gonna win that battle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the smallest car is still going to destroy somebody on a motorcycle. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't win that battle. You never win that battle. So I think
Right.
that's very, very much one of those things that you just have to keep in mind when you're in that situation.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to my dad. My dad was a truck driver for a lot of years and owned a trucking business prior to what he's doing now. And when we started learning how to drive, he taught us very quickly how to respect truckers. Like, hey, they're very limited on their maneuverability on highways and interstates. And so, it's easy to get frustrated with them sometimes, because it's like, so, they're making what you feel are these like very drastic, getting into a different lane or whatever. But my dad was adamant that us kids understood that. So we respected the larger vehicle on the road. So we knew that they were doing the best that they could, so to speak. And I think that there needs to be a trickle-down effect, I guess, if that makes sense.
Here's an idea for the podcast along those lines, because when I was out in Hogs and Frogs, Chad from the Discord came out and met with me and Dustin and hung out with us. I didn't know he was a truck driver. So we're sitting around in the evening out by the pool, drinking, talking shit, and that topic came up. And we started talking about different perspectives. And it's interesting because like he and other truck drivers we have as part of our community see both perspectives, right? From a motorcyclist and from the truck driver. But I think it would be cool for us to have some of those people on.
Yeah.
From our community, some of the truck drivers. And I think that would be a great topic of discussion, because I did learn a lot from listening to Chad.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they are, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that this is the right term to use, but their hands are tied in so many situations. You know what I mean? It's not like they can just, weave and wobble through traffic. And I think that that's one of the reasons why my dad was adamant that we had to understand from their perspective. You have to, in order to, otherwise you just get pissed off. I mean, I find it's very easy to get pissed off when you travel on the road as much as I do, but it's very.
Yeah, I mean, and they're those big trucks. They don't stop on a dime, right? They don't. They take wide turns. They can't see a motorcyclist. I mean, even when you pull up to pass a truck, and I was explaining this to my friends one time. There's a point at which they lose sight of you.
Oh yeah.
When
They
you're
lose
even
sight of cars, let alone a motorcycle.
right when you're passing them, and so I remember distinctly we were passing one time, and I was riding with this guy, and if we had our cruise set, he would just literally cruise past them, and I was like, dude, when you pull up to pass a truck, get by them, by them, because I said.
Quickly.
Yeah, because I said, they're losing sight of you. And he's like, well, I don't want to feel that, that whatever, when you pass a truck and you feel that wind, and I don't want to go. And I said, you know what? That's not your problem is to mitigate that. that truck driver doesn't want to feel that bump of them running you over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Right.
definitely don't want to feel that tire shred come
Right.
and knock you off. Like, that's a
Right.
130-pound tire.
And I will
that
tell
just
you-
sometimes comes loose.
Not last season, but the season before, we were coming home from Hogs and Frogs, and or FDBM, might have been FDBM that year, and a semi, and this has never even happened to me in a car, in South Dakota, blew a tire, and it didn't blow or
Dude.
shred. It didn't shred. It exploded into shrapnel, and
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. Like, literally exploded, and I got hit with tire shrapnel, like bouncing on the road, hitting me in the legs. Had bruises on both of my legs from tire shrapnel.
That's because how white your legs are.
That's when
Also-
you guys were coming back from
also
Kentucky,
true.
I think.
I think you're right, because
Yeah.
it was Nick and I, and two things happened. We were riding, staggered on the road, but when the tire blew, I reacted, but Nick did not, because he was up on top of me in a split second, because I braked, and he jumped right up on top of me. And we had comms on and everything, and I was like, "Holy shit! What just happened?" And we were dodging pieces of tires, and they were bouncing all over the road. And so, the last thing you want to be is next to a semi when one of those fucking tires explodes, right?
Did you say
So-
Nick jumped up on top of you while you were both wearing communicators?
You know it.
Okay.
Yep.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify.
Exactly what
That's what I
happened.
thought I heard.
Yeah. Oh, you heard it. You heard it all right. Yeah. So it was just one of those, one of those things. And so I think that that doesn't make you a good rider or a bad rider, but I think the situational awareness in those things and knowing what you should be doing is also being considerate of those truck drivers or those people in cars or Suburbans or whatever, right? The one thing that I became acutely aware of spending a lot of time on the interstates, traveling the country in the last 5 years, is how many people watch movies and read books while they're driving.
Yep.
It is
Yep.
What?
it is fucking astonishing. It's astonishing how many
Yep.
people do that.
Well,
I
they
guess
have like
when you are
CarPlay
on
adapters
a
now that you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess when you're on a bike, you have the ability to kind of like look inside vehicles
yeah.
a little bit more. And we don't spend a lot of time on the interstate or anything like that. So that's really interesting.
It's
That's
a
the one
lot.
thing, Ryan. That's the one thing I do not tolerate at all as a motorcycle rider, because I can understand blind spots, not seeing people, because that shit happens.
Yep.
But people that deliberately take their attention off the road to
Yep.
look at their phone, to do the
Yep.
things that you mentioned,
Yep.
that deserves an ass beating,
Right.
because
I think-
you're putting other people at risk doing that.
That's where a handful of marbles comes in handy. You just get right in front of them, you throw them right up over your shoulder, and if you use marbles, when they hit the glass, they actually explode, so there's no evidence, right?
Oh, Lord.
Oh yeah.
Where do you buy a handful of marbles these days?
Amazon. You can buy them by weight.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Five
But-
Dirty Bikers does not endorse throwing marbles
Absolutely not.
at people.
I think I got some
Rocks,
Amazon
that's
money
a
to
different
use.
story, but marbles, no.
Yeah. I just, I agree with you, Dustin, because I've seen it all. Putting makeup on. I've seen people putting makeup on when they're going down the road.
Yeah.
Reading, putting makeup on. I actually saw a guy one time that had a notepad out, and he was writing notes on a notepad that was on the center of his steering wheel while he was driving.
Getting roadhead.
That I'll let
See,
slide.
you know,
'cause
you
good
don't
for that
see
dude.
that.
Come on,
So,
you gotta
Oh
let
yeah,
that
we're gonna
one
let that
slide.
slide. Yeah.
I think it's. Yeah, I think we're in a generational decline because I had, with all the miles I put on the last 2 years, I haven't seen that. When
Nah,
I was younger,
fuck that guy. Knock his
yeah.
mirrors off. You're distracted,
We take
and it's not me. Yeah.
Or now it's the guy that you see in the Tesla when you drive by him and he's like this.
Having
Oh yeah,
full sex.
yeah, no shit, man.
So Ryan, you can buy marbles by the piece on Amazon
Yeah.
too.
Just one at a time? Just one marble at a time?
There's a minimum.
Oh. Like 10?
This one is like 60.
Oh, yeah, there you
Who
go.
wants
That's
10?
not-
Who wants 10 marbles?
Yeah, 60 would be perfect. That's just like 4 or 5 you can carry in your hand, reach in your pocket, throw them right up over your shoulder, crack, crack, crack against the windshield. That gets
like
people's
Mario
attention
Kart.
real quick.
Do we call those smobbles?
Smobbles?
Sweaty marbles?
Oh, here we go.
Oh, God.
Smarbles?
Here we
Smarbles?
go. Fucking smarbles.
Here we go. with the
Swabbles.
scummy
Marbles.
thing again.
Swabbles.
Swabbles.
Swarbles.
Swarbles.
If you're from Boston, it would be swabbles.
Swabbles.
Marbles.
Swabbles.
You get
Swabbles.
marbles, swabbles. Jesus.
What's
I
wrong
just
with
spent
you?
way too much time on
Hey,
that.
what's wrong with you swabbles, huh?
Yeah.
Go get those fuckers fixed before you hurt somebody with those fucking things.
Yeah.
If you're from where Ryan lives, it's you got some fucking marbles, eh?
Hey, there's something I'm dying to ask. Is Minnesota nice a real thing?
It's called
You guys are
passive
close
aggressive, and I fucking hate it.
That's what Minnesota nice is, right?
It's passive aggressive, yeah.
Because I was watching Fargo the other day, and he was like, one thing I love about you guys, it's Minnesota nice. It's like you're being nice to each other, but you're so mean in the way that you do it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so good, dude.
Yeah, it's passive aggressive, and he knows all about that. That's a very upper Midwestern trait.
So don't be getting roadhead next to me on the interstate because I'm going to be Minnesota nice.
How are you going to express your Minnesota nice if somebody's getting head? I need to understand.
They're gonna lose a mirror.
I'm going to ride as absolute close as I can to them, and I'm going to take a video.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put it on page 4 of Pornhub. I'll blur the faces.
Blur the
Just
face.
yell
The
out
face.
and tell them to go
I'll
to
blur
the
the
Red
face.
Roof Inn.
You'll blur the face,
I'll blur the face.
but you'll see the back of that head, no problem.
You're going to be on page 4, guaranteed. And I'm going to be making so much money. That's illegal, isn't it? What I just said?
Yes.
Yeah, you'll go to jail.
Five Dirty Bikers does not condone filming interstate sex.
But you can film the doors at the Red Roof Inn. That's totally
Yeah, buddy.
legit. 'Cause, there's no PII there.
I can't wait.
Could live in that plus. I'm gonna go down to the other side of St. Louis, stay in that plus just for the fuck of it.
Let's go. Document the whole thing.
Hey, you come to St. Louis, dude? I'll get us rooms.
Me? You and me? Let's
I
go.
was gonna say, I'll
get us a room.
Yeah, buddy.
That whiskey a little bit
I
tonight.
know. He's had one too many of the monkey shits or whatever it's called.
Butts or whatever it was.
Dustin's like, come on, dude, you put the suit on.
Hey, the noodler will make a return, buddy. Don't tempt me.
You got the Red Roof Inn in the nude suit. Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make him his own
birthday.
comic book cover in the noodler suit.
Yeah, he's
Please do.
One of one.
See Prentice
too bad you cut the hands off that bad boy. Be
envision
like the noodler
Prentice
stranger.
in
Yeah.
the hallway of the Red Roof Inn in the noodler suit.
Oh, I will. Oh, I will. You guys
The
got room
police
for
would
one
be
more?
called.
No.
The police would be called, yeah.
You'd make your own TikToks and you'd get Oprah rich.
Yeah,
I can wear what I want. You guys have room for one more?
Ooh, a crowded elevator.
Who farted?
It was me.
If it's still trapped in the suit, we know who.
There's a big bubble back there.
You gotta. I have to unzip the back to like let it out.
Look like a toddler shitting in the corner.
Yeah.
Bubble butt.
That would be funny if you were the only person standing on an elevator in a nude suit. How many people would get on the elevator, see you, and get off before the doors close?
Well, there's only one way to find out.
Andy's like, that would be me.
Yeah, I would.
But then you'd get right back on. You'd be like, shit. Turn right around.
The
I
ceiling
know.
fucking elevator there is.
Especially,
Yeah.
Prentice, how tall did you say you are?
I'm 6'4".
You're 5'7", right?
Yep.
So if you had Prentice in a nude suit and me in a nude suit, both standing on an elevator, and then somebody gets on, they just be like, "Oh, I'm out. I'm sorry. You guys look busy."
Ah,
The fucking
we
Foot
need to do
Clan
it.
from Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
So
This has
have
to
we
be done.
talked the good rider to death now?
I think so.
I think we
so.
have.
Who did we determine is the best rider?
God.
Oh, Jesus could ride the fuck out of the bike.
The best rider
Yeah.
between what?
Of the 5 dirties.
Oh,
Riding
I'm the least
dirty,
best. I
go
promise you
riding
that.
dirty.
and I have been riding since I was 5 years. My first motorcycle was at 6 or 7. It was a little Honda 50 in the 80s. It was surrounded by 40 acres of cornfield in Tennessee, and I just rode to death on that thing. But if there was a hill, I jumped it. I have scars everywhere from where I have hurt something or another. I still ride that way, so it's probably not me. I'm not the best rider, for sure.
I know it's not me.
Me neither.
That's probably not me either. It's probably Dustin. Dustin's
I
the best
vote.
rider.
If I vote, I'm going to say I vote for Dave based on mileage.
That's fair.
Again, it kind of goes to what makes a good rider. Maybe we should talk about that first and define that.
Nah,
I mean, I've ridden a lot of miles.
I bet you have. 6 inches at a time.
I would.
But I didn't go anywhere.
Did you just expose Greg?
I ride the bike that goes nowhere. You're right. I do ride a bike that goes nowhere.
That's called a pony.
Page
Of
7.
the baloney variety.
That's all the way to page 7? How do people ever make it there?
They don't. That's why there's so many fucking stepmom videos. It's sickening.
Oh my gosh.
Stepmom catches stepson, and they're both like 4 years old. Like, okay.
Page 7,
Okay.
you're beat to death.
Yeah.
But
I go
if you're gonna
straight
be
to
a
it. I go straight to it.
If you're gonna be a good rider, and you want to prevent swabbles and skunt and swussy,
Oh,
you
Jesus
do need
Christ.
one thing.
a shower.
You need one thing.
A wild
you
ass
need a
seat.
fucking wild ass.
Yeah.
You do.
Hey,
It cools. It makes things a little,
I went through the
groovy.
training today, and it's God's honest truth. There's an indention between the packs for the balls that
Yep.
allows air to come. Dude, I learned all this. Heat dispersion, I'm on it. Wild ass seats all the
Yeah.
way.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Will it
That's
make
all
you a better
that's where
rider?
it's at.
I don't know. If you put
Damn
one
right
on,
it will.
I don't know.
It will if you're
It's got
smiling
to.
because you got air flowing through there. Then you'll be
Yeah.
a better good rider.
Right.
It's
It'll make you
one
more
last thing to
comfortable.
think about. If your junk is comfortable, you're a better rider.
If your
Joke's on
junk
you,
is
my junk's
comfortable,
never comfortable.
if your junk is comfortable, I think most things in life are easier.
Didn't we learn never get too comfortable? Didn't we
Yeah.
just learn that?
Well, like try walking into a meeting with pants that are too tight. I mean, the meeting never goes the way you expect it
Dude,
to.
that was the entirety of my 20s.
Stand
Here
up
comes
pants.
fucking Prentice in his skinny jeans again.
His skinny jeans. Did you were you a skinny suit guy too?
Oh, dude, it was Los Angeles. I was, of course I
Oh,
was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have the long
But-
pointy shoes with the skinny suit?
No, I actually was I was a tennis shoes and skinny suit guy. I
Okay.
don't have any nice shoes. Yeah.
Okay.
Do your wives know what stand up pants are?
How many wives?
Do your
Well, if I don't
you-
wash them
Oh,
for
you're
a
talking
Four
month,
of
I'll
you.
stand up.
Okay, yeah.
Stand up pants.
stand up pants.
What are you, Mormon?
Yeah, so Francis, we don't know about him yet. We're still
Yeah.
learning. But yeah, so there's this thing that women have. They're called stand-up pants, and they're pants that look really good, but you can only stand up in them because if you sit down, things just don't disperse the way that they should.
Oh, I love
so
those.
we have stand-up pants and we have sit-down pants, and so that's why if you ever want to, when we go out with our friends, we're like, so what are we doing? Because it's going to determine whether I have a stand-up pant on or a sit-down pant.
Are those the pants? Do you like the stand-up pants? Are those the ones you got to lay down on the bed and zip up with a hanger?
Well, yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. So they're
Yeah, and I
basically
do-
70s, late 70s disco pants is what
Yeah,
we
and I
used to
gotta
call
do
them.
this. Hold on, I'll show you what I gotta do sometimes.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
The chair's
Thumbnail
going.
time
Even,
coming up.
even the chair's gone.
You gotta grab it and you gotta go like this.
So wait. What?
And you gotta thrust.
Oh,
What
Lord
is
have
Don't
mercy.
forget
What
forget the thrust.
What
the
does
thrust
the-
is the most important part.
What does the deep knee bend do for the stand-up pants?
It gives
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so you get a couple inches in the creases there, and
Yeah,
then
you
when
do.
you jet up and thrust, it gives it a little oomph, and it goes up a couple more inches. It makes
Couple
a
inches in the
difference, I'm telling you.
crease. That's
right.
That's going to be on my tombstone.
Not 9. Not 9.
Here lies Prentice, a couple inches in the crease.
Well, We'll invent our own line of lubricants called Crease Grease.
Yes.
In your honor.
Yes.
Well, hey, before we cut out, do we want to share a little information tonight?
No.
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 No?
It's not up to me.
Yeah, me neither.
About next fall?
Oh. I'm confused.
We
I
could.
am easily confused.
My meeting this week?
Yeah, do it.
What happened? I blacked out.
Share away,
Blacked out.
Dave. Share away, Dave.
So, non-binding, but we want to let everybody give you a little clue because everybody keeps bugging the shit out of us about FDBM for 2025.
Red Roof.
So tonight, yeah, Red Roof Inn. We can let people know the plan is right now to do FDBM in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln.
And we'll be partnering with Battlefield Harley-Davidson there in Gettysburg. We're looking at the weekend of 12 through 14 September. And we'll have a lot more information coming later. But
Hide your kids, hide your wives.
yeah, I think it's going to be a great time. I think it's really going to be a great time. Lots of good roads out there, lots of stuff to see, and lots of stuff to do.
Can I be inappropriate for a second?
Yeah.
This is the angle in which I will record moving forward.
No.
Look at how big my mic is. That is hilarious.
But we can barely hear
Yeah,
you.
you
Yeah.
sound like Lassie fell down the well, or Timmy fell
Yeah,
down the
get your
well.
mouth closer to that thing. There we go.
So now it looks so small and sad.
Oh, but you sound so
but
much
that's
sexier.
but that's my comfort zone. Small and sad.
Well, it's sad. 2 inches in the crease.
I'm a lot more comfortable that way.
You must watch YouTube to understand what we're talking
Yes.
about. It looks
Yes.
like I could swallow with a microphone at this angle.
Oh, boy.
And it might even be on page 1 of YouTube.
So anyway, watch out in the Discord for more information about FDBM 2025. But that's to give you guys a heads up so you can start planning. That's the plan.
I think we have one other thing that needs to be discussed tonight.
I think so too. Rip it off.
Everybody, this is a tough pill for even me to swallow, but this is my last show on this podcast. There's no easy way to say it or compose what, I haven't even thought about what I'm going to say tonight, but 5 years, 250 plus episodes, ton of memories, infinite laughs. But I've decided to hang up my headphones and turn off my mic for the last time after this episode. But I just want to say thank you all from every cast member, every listener, every FDBM attendant, every guest we've had on this show for making this show what it's been the last 5 years, which has been some of the coolest shit I've ever been able to do in my 42 years. So thank you all for listening, letting us waste your time here. With me involved, of course. I mean, the show's going to, of course, go on. But this will definitely be a void in my week-to-week, day-to-day. But the show must go on. Unfortunately, it'll be without me.
Well, Dustin, we've appreciated the time that you spent. Your footprint, your influence will forever be marked on the podcast and in this community that we built around it. And coming from, coming from one of the OGs that started it with you, I'm going to miss you, man. I'm going to miss you on here every week. But like everything else, everything has an expiration date. And your time to go. I support you in everything that you're going to do moving forward. I think that this is, it's unfortunate for us, but a good thing for you that you can move on to whatever's next in your time. And I wish you all the best, man. And I love you, and I'm gonna miss you on the podcast.
Oh, thanks, dude. It's been a pleasure. Like I said, some of the coolest shit I've ever been able to do. Especially having guests on like Steve Caballero. it just the list goes on. Being able to support the autism community like we did with the bike was just a big monumental time on this show that I'll never forget. And guys, just keep this going, keep kicking ass at it, and I can't wait to see what you guys do next.
For sure, dude. I mourn it as a listener, right? Before being on, and now like sitting in the chair beside you, so to speak. It's tough to see you go, but I'm stoked that I got to spend a little bit of time with you anyway, man.
Oh, for sure. And I'm I said, I said this on Discord, and the cat's already out of the bag by now on social media, but I'm not going anywhere. I'm still available. If you guys are ever in the area, you want to come ride in the St. Louis area, hit me up. Instagram at DTHACSG, and I'm on Facebook, so I'm not a hard guy to get a hold of. So that goes for anybody listening too. If you're ever in the area, you want to come ride, I'll try to make myself available as much as possible.
Motorcycles or
Ghost chasing. We can go ghost chasing.
Red roofs.
Red roof. I mean, no, I'm definitely never calling you again. This is the last time I'm ever going to talk to you for sure.
I said we can go ghost hunting. I know a place.
He holds a grudge.
No way,
Well,
dude.
Dustin,
I love
like-
Dustin. I'm going to St. Louis for sure.
Like I said the other day, I mean, your DNA is deeply ingrained in this thing, this experiment that we're doing, and will always be a part of the podcast. And I know that all the friendships are still there as well. I look forward to coming through in a more relaxed time, and spending some time together out in Illinois and chasing your kids again around with the drone. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
recently.
And I know you guys probably didn't notice because the camera's kind of zoomed in, but I had to wear this shirt tonight.
I did notice that earlier.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I saw it.
Damn it! I should have worn
Love it.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ron and I both have those.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The very first one.
Very first one.
Dave, can you define
Wow.
DNA real quick?
Love you, Dustin.
Oh, he's gone.
No.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Wow. That's a sombering way to end a podcast.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, guys, this is, again, not a great way to end a podcast, but we wanted Dustin to say his goodbye in whatever way that he found the most fitting, and like he said, this is going to be his last one on the podcast. We will, however, be moving on and forward and onward and upward, and so we will continue to be making podcasts, and you will see us all at 5 again very soon.
We'll still be here at the same time next week.
That's
See
right.
you then,
Yeah, we
or
will.
see you on another time.
Right? So, as we say and end every episode, keep it dirty.
Go swoops.
And skunts or
Skunts.
scoots, or what is
Swissy.
it?
Swissy.
Swissy.
Oh, Jesus. Ended already.
Stop the recording, Dave.
Rude.